What's going on YouTube land? It's Thomas DeLauer, and right now it is, Thursday evening. And I figured, well, I did this video last night on prolonged fasting, and it was a success. Like, so many people watched it. I think it was my most successful video yet. The questions were just overwhelming, like out of control. Comments were awesome, so much engagement. So I figured, okay, perfect opportunity to hop on here, do a live broadcast, and talk a bit about the topic. Talk about fasting, talk about prolonged fasting. Heck, we can even talk a little bit about intermittent fasting. But traditionally, I like to do these videos like talking about a general subject and just kind of giving you my information. But this time, I want to actually ask you to ask some questions so that I can answer them. So anyway, I want to make sure that I'm addressing everybody and saying hello to as many people as I possibly can. So if you can, comment where you're watching from so that I can say hello, and that's how we're going to get this thing started. So what's going on in Tennessee? Fast Max. Someone says I need to shave. This is just how I roll. Syracuse, New York. What's going on? Antioch. We got Detroit in the house. Sweden in the house. We've got Alabama, New Zealand, Maine, Tahoe, Odessa, Texas, New Jersey, Phoenix, Bay City, Michigan, San Fernando Valley, Pittsburgh, El Paso, Philippines, Denver, Toronto, Ontario, Tampa, Toronto again, Indiana, Pueblo, Colorado. Lots of people here. This is really awesome, guys. So I love it when you comment where you're watching from. It gives me a chance to be able to just engage with you guys. But I love doing these live broadcasts simply because it gives me an opportunity to answer the questions that I know people have all the time. So if you can, do me a big favor and invite some people to this video, and try to get as many people on this as we can, because I definitely want to address some of the questions. And for those of you that didn't get a chance to see the video yesterday, after we hop off of this broadcast, I encourage you to go watch it, but I'll paraphrase in just a little bit. D, what's going on in Napa Valley? Just want to extend my best wishes out to you. I know it's hard out there. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm born and raised in Sonoma. I met my wife in Sonoma. I'm from there. Everything we know is burned to the ground. Where we grew up, our houses, everything's gone. So, I mean, it's just a matter of, it's been interesting, definitely. So, D, saying that you're from Napa, I know it's crazy there right now. It's crazy for us too, even just knowing about it. Anyway, yesterday I posted the video on prolonged fasting, which is something different than what I normally talk about. Normally I'm talking about intermittent fasting. I'm talking about, a 16-8 kind of window. I'm talking about maybe a little bit of prolonged fasting here and there, maybe 18 to 20 hours. But prolonged fasting is something different. I was talking about going like a full 24 to 48 hours of fasting to really try to elicit a different response in the body. I'm a huge fan of implementing an extended fast every 2 to 3 months. And the simple reason, it's the fact that you're basically getting this regenerative cell thing going on. You have this thing called autophagy, and I talk about it in a lot of videos. Autophagy is where you actually recycle cells. It's basically when your cells eat the other cells, and you have this whole crazy process that's going on. So basically autophagy is the old cells dying, the new cells being able to recycle from those and create something new. Well, that is stimulated when you're in a fasted state, and it's an extended fasted state. What's going to essentially happen is the cells go around, and the macrophages, which is part of your immune system, go and they gobble up a lot of the old cells. Basically, you end up in a heightened immune response, so you're getting a lot of positive benefit there. I'm going to get right into the questions because someone asked a tremendous question. Do you exercise when you're in a prolonged fast? Yes, I am a highly strong proponent of fasting and exercising, but you want to make sure that you're exercising in a very moderate way. You don't have to be going crazy. You're not doing anything intense. You're basically doing slow, extended cardio. Here's the thing. We can't forget the basics, right? Oh, wow. Ali keeps on saying, Dr. Axe is better than you. Go away. You're awesome, man. I love saying, oh, I know who you are. You're the guy that always asks really weird questions in the comments, and I never reply, so you get upset. That's who it is. Okay. Now I don't feel so bad. Anyway, so what I was basically getting at was when you're doing an extended fast and you do a little bit of cardio, you are basically tapping into additional fat reserves. It's pretty straightforward. Everyone likes to overcomplicate it and overthink it. But when you're fasting, it is so simple. Your body has nothing else to burn but fat at that point. You're not gonna burn muscle. It doesn't work that way. In fact, in the video next week, I'm gonna explain everything as it pertains to the fitness side of things. You don't have to worry about that. But your body is going to actually start utilizing fat as a source of fuel simply because it has no choice. So a tiny bit of cardio is really good. What we have to remember is that we have a difference between aerobic and anaerobic activity. Aerobic activity utilizes fat as a source of fuel, okay? It's utilizing oxygen. Anaerobic activity, like lifting weights, utilizes carbohydrates. We do have to remember that. So if you're trying to burn a little bit more fat and you're in a fasted state, you're typically going to want to do a little bit more in the way of cardio versus weight training. Now, when you're intermittent fasting and you're trying to exhaust all of your glycogen stores, then you want to weight train. Here's what I've always been taught, and it makes a lot of sense when you think of it like this. When you are fasting and your body is able to utilize fat as a source of fuel, you are in a much more prone state to use oxygen as a source of fuel, or as a source of energy, right? Because here's how it works. Beta oxidation is when your body can actually have time to utilize oxygen for fuel. So for example, going for a run, you're going slow enough, cardio, you're going slow enough, your body has time to take oxygen and convert it into ATP and convert it into energy because you're moving slow enough, you're just cruising along. Well, that process uses fats, okay? The other side of the equation is weight training. And when you're weight training, you're exhausting yourself or you're sprinting. So your body does not have time to take oxygen and convert it into fuel. So it has to go into a different system where it utilizes glycogen, it utilizes carbohydrates as a source of fuel. That's exactly how it ends up working. So that's exactly why when you're fasting, you get more benefit out of cardio because your body is utilizing oxygen and can have time to burn fat. That's the simple science of it. Now, if you're intermittent fasting, it's a whole different ballgame because then you're trying to exhaust your glycogen as fast as you can so that your body can get to the fat stores. But with prolonged fasting, you're already there. Okay, 24 hours into your fast, trust me, your glycogen stores are depleted. It's just the simple way it is. I love weight training, sure, that's me, but I also love cardio. And I also know that it's super, super important for you to be getting your cardio in during an extended fast. Just keep it super easy. I know you have a lot of questions coming in. There's a ton of them pouring in. I do want to stop for a second and make sure those of you that have just joined in can comment where you're watching from so that I can say hello. So please just give me a quick comment here, say where you're watching from. And if you can, everyone that's on here, you know the drill. If you can, please hit that thumbs up button. It helps me out a ton. I can't tell you how much it helps the channel, how much it helps everyone be able to see good content. So if you're getting something out of this, or if you appreciate me taking the time to hop on a live broadcast and do a coaching video, just do me a huge favor and hit that thumbs up. India in the house, Florida, New Jersey, Jared and Raleigh. We've got India, more India. Los Angeles, Tracy, what's going on? Thomas in the Bay Area. I hope you're not getting too much smoke up there right now. Illinois in the house. Jennifer in Austin. We got Cedarville, Ohio. What's going on? We've got Trenton, Tulsa. We've got Bells, Texas, Portland, Concord, California, Korea, Denver, Massachusetts, Bolivia, Ireland, Norfolk, Portland, Australia, Miami, Hillsdale, La Crosse, Malaysia, Hawaii. Holy cow, you guys are so awesome. I love this. Port St. Lucie, Florida, Argentina, Raleigh, North Carolina again, Newfoundland, San Francisco, Carmel, Indiana, Virginia, Texas. We got Florida in the house, Virginia. Holy cow, you guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much. If you are hopping on here, if you've missed part of the beginning, I started talking about the video that I did yesterday on prolonged fasting. So please give this a good old share so we can get a lot of people. I want to get as many people on this as we possibly can. Houston, what's going on? Okay, let's go back to the topics again. I also started talking about digestive benefits. Okay, I started talking about what happens to the digestive system when we're fasting. Okay, once we get through an extended period of fasting, like after 24 hours or so, we start seeing these changes in our digestive system. And what happens is the gut mucosal layer starts to wean off, it starts to go away, and it starts to reset. And that could mean that during a fast, your stomach's extremely sensitive, okay, for a longer term fast. But what it also means is that your gut is restoring, it's relining. And if we don't give it a chance to reline every once in a while, that's exactly how we end up with all these things like a leaky gut. I hate talking about a leaky gut because it sounds really markety and scammy. Why? Because all the guys out there on the internet are selling products about a leaky gut. Okay, gut health is important, but let's not predicate everything on a leaky gut. A leaky gut is an issue, and we do have to deal with it, but it's not the end all be all. But I hate saying the word leaky gut because it just sounds so markety. But the fact is, intermittent fasting or prolonged fasting is extremely, extremely good for that. So it's going to help prevent that issue. It's going to give the enterocytes a chance to actually absorb better. It's going to give the villi a chance to actually restore. For those of you that are asking what a leaky gut is, I will explain it really quick because it is important to know. It does have to do with gut health. Just don't listen and subscribe to all the crap that's out there talking about how there are magical leaky gut cures and stuff like that. What happens is when you have inflammation in your gut from eating certain foods over and over again, or just from being stressed out, or just chronic inflammation in general, the villi, the actual little strands in your stomach, or in your intestinal tract, that absorb nutrients go in between these villi and absorb. Well, what happens is inflammation comes in and it swells and they get brittle and they break. Okay, when they start to break, you get these gaps in your intestinal tract where larger molecules can get in through the gut. That may sound good at first because we're like, wait a minute, we want more stuff to absorb. But that's not the case because we don't want big particles to absorb. So when you have a leaky gut, larger particles of undigested food are getting into your bloodstream. Well, the big problem with that is our body doesn't know how to break those down. Our body knows how to break down simple glucose, simple free fatty acids, things like that. It doesn't know how to break down giant chunks of undigested particles in food. So what happens? Your immune system kicks in. Your immune system ends up coming into the equation to try to figure out what's going on, and it triggers systemic chronic inflammation that can rage throughout your entire body and make you really, really sick. That's the whole idea behind inflammation and a leaky gut. How does fasting help this? Well, simply because fasting is by and large the fastest way to reduce inflammation. Saying reduce inflammation is a pretty claimy term. I don't like to say big claiming terms like that, but that's all there is to it. Fasting is going to reduce inflammation. You don't have anything coming in. You have no choice but to reduce inflammation. Someone asked the glucose range to be in while doing keto. That's a good question. I want to save that for a different thing. I just wanted to make note of that. Okay, someone asked, will MCT or bone broth break a fast? Yes. I want to encourage you guys to not overthink it again. If you overthink it, you will drive yourself crazy. Fasting is fasting, period. You should really only be consuming water, coffee, and something that has no caloric value. Bone broth has a caloric value. Chicken broth has a caloric value. MCT oil definitely has a caloric value. It will break a fast, but it's a different kind of fast if you do implement that. Okay, and someone asked, does tea? Tea does not break a fast. Just do not put honey in it or anything like that, okay? So we have to make sure that we're paying attention to that. Helen says, how can I ease back into eating after fasting? That is a phenomenal question, and it came up like at least 10 times in the comment section of the video that I did yesterday. How do you introduce food back in? There's two parts to this question that I want to address, and they're two very good questions. I do want to make sure, we've got a lot of people on this broadcast, but not a lot of people hitting that like button, which really makes me kind of sad. So can we get some people to please, someone actually, okay, cold hands, feet, overall low energy when fasting. What can I do about that? Okay, that's a super good question. Have you tried utilizing nitric oxide as a supplement when you're fasting? That is a big, big thing that you can do. Utilizing nitric oxide when you're fasting, like taking a nitric oxide supplement, can increase the blood flow. That is going to help prevent that. That can be a big, big problem, and I'm glad you addressed that. It's usually an issue with low blood pressure because you're fasting, and you might notice, like right now, like I have a decent amount of veins, right? I'm not fasting today, but when I'm fasting, those veins go away, and my hands and feet get really cold too. And the reason I answered that is because I've been there, totally been there. By the way, thank you all for hitting that like button. Anyway, I want to get back to addressing the two-part question that I wanted to start to address before that other question distracted me. When you are getting back into eating after fasting for an extended period of time, you have to be extra careful because your gut is super sensitive. Normally, I say consume bone broth to break your fast because it's good for your gut. That's really good after breaking an intermittent fast. But a longer term fast, you need to go super easy. I'm not just gonna say this because it's fall right now, but whether you're keto or not, having some pureed pumpkin is actually really good to break a fast. I know this because I have a bunch of dogs. I had 4 dogs, I have 3 now. Not because I ate one, but because one died of natural causes. Someone actually said that to me last week. They asked me if I ate my dog. Anyway, I digress. But having dogs, I know that what's really good for their digestive system is to give them pumpkin. If they have diarrhea, if they're sick, if they have stomach issues, you give them a little bit of pumpkin because it's easy to digest. And so that's what I've actually adopted after breaking a long-term fast. So like once every 2 months or so when I go on a longer 48, sometimes 72-hour fast, I have pumpkin. A little bit of pumpkin breaks my fast, my stomach feels good, and then I proceed into my regular meals. There's like so many people that said, I'm so glad you didn't eat your dog. Dog is not good meat. No, we don't do that, guys. You know I love my animals. I've got 3 dogs, I've got 2 horses. Okay, that's like my life. So it was just a comment that came in on a video like last week and someone said, you look like you ate your dog. I don't know. Anyway, just sharing random details with you. The other side of the equation that I wanted to answer, which was a great question that came up, was someone that asked, after they've been fasting for a long period of time, how do they start increasing calories again without rebounding and getting fat? Which makes perfect sense, right? Because we've been fasting for so long, if you're doing it regularly, sometimes it can be hard. You're afraid you're gonna rebound, you're afraid you're gonna gain weight, you're afraid you're gonna put fat on, so we need to understand that. So yeah, you have to bring up a great point. And the trick is to implement 1 day every 2 weeks that you're erasing your fasts. So let's say, for example, this doesn't just go for prolonged fasting, it goes for all fasting. Let's say you're someone that likes to fast 3-4 days a week. Every 2 weeks, you're gonna get rid of one of your fasting days. So let's say week 1, you're fasting 4 days a week. Week 2, you're still gonna fast 4 days a week. Week 3, you're gonna fast 3 days a week. Week 4, you're gonna fast 3 days a week again. Week 5, you're gonna fast 2 days a week. And you're gonna go all the way down to you're just fasting 1 day a week, and you're gonna do that for about a month. Then your body's gonna be pretty recycled and you're gonna be good, okay? You're gonna feel like your metabolism's getting back. It doesn't take as long as people think it does. It takes a couple of months to kind of reverse diet and get your body back. You guys are super awesome. Can we make sure, why does fasting and intermittent fasting work just as well if you've been eating a ketogenic diet? That's such a good question, because I did a video on keto versus fasting and the combination of keto versus fasting. Keto and fasting are so similar. I want you guys to pay extra close attention to what I'm about to say, because I think it's gonna answer everyone's question that they probably have here. It is a very, very common question, and it's super, super important that you listen to what I say. So hear me out, and please make sure you hit that thumbs up button, because I'm gonna give you some good information here. Ketosis, the benefit of ketosis comes from the body utilizing ketones, period. The benefit of fasting comes from the body using ketones. Similar benefits. Now, there's multiple benefits that come from each that do different things. But by and large, most of the benefits are coming from the utilization of ketone bodies, from acetoacetate, from beta-hydroxybutyrate, from acetone, from that entire conversion process. That is how it works. And that's the benefit we're getting. Now, are there other benefits with fasting that don't apply to keto? 100%. But the reason that keto and fasting work so well together is because you're essentially going after the same thing. You're getting the same ketogenic response by fasting that you are through ketosis. The difference is ketosis, you're fed. Ketosis, you're simulating fasting by tricking your body, or not necessarily tricking it, but by producing ketones by the absence of carbohydrates. With fasting, you're just freaking not eating and you're gonna produce ketones, plain and simple. Two different ways of getting there. Fasting is a little bit more abrupt and a little bit more abrasive for people, whereas ketosis is a little bit more of a lifestyle, because you can actually eat. And there's actually foods that you can eat while in ketosis and still live a normal life. Fasting, you can live a normal life, but if you're fasting for 3 weeks and you're going to lunch a couple times a week with people, eventually they're gonna think you're weird. So who cares if they think you're weird? Hang on, my low battery here. Okay, eventually they're gonna think you're kind of weird. So anyway, is boiled broccoli good to break a 24-hour fast? I will actually say, Sebastian, no, that's not. That's gonna be really hard. It has, not only does it have a high amount of sulfur, but it also has, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the sugar, but it has a kind of sugar, something with an R, not a ribosome. Man, I'm drawing a blank. It's a sugar that starts with an R that basically broccoli has. It's very, very, very hard to break, very hard to break down. So it's very, very hard on your gut. Very not a good thing to break a fast with. You want to have some solid food in you, some good, legitimate, easy to digest food before you have that broccoli. Guys, can you go ahead and comment where you're watching from really quick? I want to make sure I'm saying hello to people. We've got 500 people on here live right now, which is phenomenal. So I want to make sure, comment where you're watching from so that I can say hello. I really, really want to address that. Walden, yes, you can do keto and IF together. Awesome. Misty in Detroit, Madrid, what's going on? Florida, Ohio, what's going on? Melbourne, Australia, Pueblo, Colorado. We've got Land O'Lakes, Florida, Georgia, Calgary, Syracuse, New York, London, Israel, Fort Worth, Texas, Brazil, Minnesota, Times Square, New York, Australia, Houston, Texas, Haverhill, British Columbia, in my basement, awesome, Texas, go Brooklyn, Brazil, Nebraska, Ontario, Canada, Vancouver, Toronto, Puerto Rico, Kentucky, Houston, Tracy from Vegas, Canada, Huntsville, Alabama, Greece, Laredo, Texas, Point Magoo, hey, you're right down the road, I'm up in Thousand Oaks, Imperial, Missouri, Nicaragua. Everyone's saying ribose on the sugar. It's not ribose. Ribose is a sugar, but no, I think it's raffinose. It's raffinose. Anyway, guys, if you can, please hit that like button. Please, please, please. It helps these videos out a lot. I'm trying to do these coaching broadcasts to be able to answer questions because I can't always reply to the comments. Paul, you asked a question. Hang on, let me get back to that. Oops, hang on. Let me get Paul's question. Paul, you said, can I drink C4 sports drinks during a fast? 5 calories per serving. Okay, so here's the thing. C4 technically will break a fast, my man. You need to go, sorry, scroll to the bottom of the comments. You need to make sure that you're finding some kind of pre-workout that has no calories, that is usually just gonna be beta-alanine, okay? So that's gonna be really what we want. Don, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that, Don Huchin, thank you. Beta-alanine's great, citrulline malate's great. You really just need to make sure that you're not going overboard on all the extra ingredients. I know C4 is inexpensive and easy to find, but not gonna be the best thing during a fast. Avoid the BCAAs as well. BCAAs are going to cause a problem because they're gonna break your fast technically. Thank you all for liking this, by the way. I'm appreciating all the thumbs up, all the like buttons. Davina, you asked about the Master Cleanse. I'm not a huge fan of the Master Cleanse, mainly because it's pretty restrictive and it's not really shown to modulate inflammation too much. So I'm not a big fan of that. Will ACV break your fast? Apple cider vinegar technically won't break your fast, or technically will break your fast, but I don't believe it will. I use it all the time. I don't seem to have any issues with it. Doesn't change my blood glucose. Doesn't seem to kick me out of keto, anything like that. Someone says broccoli has ribose. Broccoli does have ribose, but it's raffinose, the sugar that I'm talking about. Tracy says you can pay money. Yeah, see, I think what you put... Sorry about that. Someone tried calling my phone right when I did it. When I exercise hard, I get a headache 4 hours before. Mealtime solution. Okay, so when you exercise hard, you get a headache. I'm just trying to make sure I understand that question. You get a 4 hours before mealtime, headache 4 hours before mealtime. Gotcha, I get what you're saying. Okay, that's a good question. So you're fasting, I'm just making sure I understand it. You're fasting, and then you work out, and then 4 hours before you're supposed to break your fast, you start finding that you start getting a headache and lightheaded. Take some potassium, take some magnesium. Usually potassium issues lead to headaches. It also may not hurt to take a little bit of turmeric curcumin. Curcumin has been shown to do some amazing things when it comes down to migraines. In fact, I just did a video on that today. It's pretty interesting. So curcumin affects tumor necrosis factor alpha and triggers headaches or helps reduce headache issues in a different way. So if you're fasting, that's a good way to get rid of those headaches. I hope that helps you. Someone says, how do I track my fat consumption? Honestly, the good old school fashioned way, doing it with like MyNet Diary or MyFitnessPal, or any of those, simply because it helps out right out the gate, because I can actually get an idea, but then after that I get a good idea for eyeballing it and knowing what's going to happen. Guys, we have so many people on this broadcast, and I know not everyone has clicked the like button on this video. It really helps me out a ton, and I know I sound like a broken record, but I really mean that. When I'm doing these videos and doing these live broadcasts, one of my reasons for doing them is to engage with my audience, and if I feel like I'm not getting those thumbs up, then YouTube says, okay, basically here's how the algorithm works. YouTube looks at these live broadcasts. They know that there's going to be more engagement. If they see that I do a live broadcast and not that many people like it or comment on it or join it, they're like, well, this guy must suck. Like, he must not be good at what he does. So guess what? Then my videos don't get out to as many people. That means you don't get to see them. That means that you don't get to see all of my videos. Yes, believe it or not, YouTube is starting to operate more like Facebook, where it's harder for you to see all of my videos, and I want to make sure you see them. So that helps. Sam, I'm glad you love the broadcast. Lonnie, thank you for thumbs up. You guys are awesome. I appreciate that. Mitch says YouTube algorithms are dirty. They definitely are. Lemon juice, does it break a fast? Technically it can, and I hate to say that because I'm a huge advocate for the lemon juice, apple cider vinegar combination. Goat milk and tea levels, that's a good idea for a video. Not for this particular one, but we'll talk about that. Chicago in the house, what's going on? Cream of tartar and water is okay to drink on a fast, absolutely. How many days a week should you fast? Intermittent fasting, 1 to 2, maybe 3. Prolonged fasting, like 24 to 48 hours, longer, definitely. Okay, you definitely need to be going like once a month. Okay, Andrew, you say, hang on, sorry, you've got, I never hear much on skinny high metabolism people at 8% body fat and whether they should do intermittent fasting or keto. That's a good question. I'm actually doing a video here really soon on the world of fasting, keto, and muscle building, because I think there's an audience there for that. Now, I know most of my audience here that I'm talking to isn't usually interested in the muscle building side of things as much, but I will say that for a skinny person, intermittent fasting can be tremendously powerful, because you're harnessing the power of an insulin spike. So when you spike your insulin, it allows your body to absorb a ton of nutrients all at once. That is powerful stuff, really powerful stuff. So if you eat the right kind of calories and the right kind of food right at the end of your fast when you're breaking it, you can have some huge results in terms of muscle building. Same thing with keto. It's very effective. Weight training during a 72-hour fast. Whoa, sorry guys. Hang on guys, sorry about that. Hang on. This gimbal did its normal weird thing that it does every now and then. Hang on. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, there we go. Lemon juice, yeah, we talked about that. So weight training. Weight training when you're fasting, you do want to be able to still survive your fast. So I recommend, if you're going to do like a 72-hour fast, you should do your weight training at the beginning of your fast, okay, full body. And then throughout the rest of the fast, just do a little bit of cardio. So if you're doing a 3-day fast, you're gonna wanna do like weight training the first day, and then maybe a little bit of cardio that night, a little cardio the next morning, a little cardio the next morning, and you're good to go. Been intermittent fasting every day since January 20th, feel great. That's awesome. You know, intermittent fasting every day is aggressive. It's not for everybody, it's still awesome. Does maca break a fast? Nah, you're good with maca. Can a large consumptions of alcohol hurt ketosis? Yes, they can. Is salt a good source of potassium, or light salt? Oh, gotcha. Light salt, yeah, it would be a good source because that's basically what it is, potassium sulfate. But I would recommend just, honestly, just taking a potassium tab. Would help you out a lot. Someone asked, what's the best, sorry, I saw a good question. What is the best way to consume MCT oil? That's a good question because a lot of people ask that. When it comes down to MCT oil, my favorite way to take it is with broccoli, believe it or not. So here's what I do. I take broccoli, I steam broccoli. Then I take nutritional yeast. I don't know if you've ever had that stuff, but nutritional yeast is awesome. Then I put nutritional yeast on the broccoli, and then I put coconut oil on the broccoli, and then I put MCT oil on the broccoli, and then I put ghee on the broccoli. So talk about a lot of fats, right? But that's the way it should be with keto, and the way it should be when you're really breaking a fast and you're in keto. That's the way it really needs to work. Ruben, you asked if I'm still taking clients. Unfortunately, I'm really not. I just don't have the time, unfortunately, one-on-one anymore to do that. I wish that I could, but because my price tag for coaching is really, really high, and I just don't feel comfortable even taking people on at that rate anymore. Man, this thing is really gimbal's starting to die on me. I think I'm gonna need to get a new one soon. So I don't really take on clients anymore, unfortunately. So I hate to break that to you. But, you know, I start doing these coaching broadcasts, hopefully they help. And I don't know if you guys saw, it's kind of a cool trick. On these broadcasts, when I'm doing coaching broadcasts, you see there's actually an ability for you to pay to ask a question where it's actually highlighted, which is really cool. So now, I know that kind of hurts for some people, but it is kind of cool because it does pop up and it comes to the front of my screen so I can't miss it. So when people do that, it makes it so what I'd like to do is the audience is big enough now, since I can't really take on one-on-one clients, I can at least do that here and be able to answer questions and do these coaching broadcasts. It's a lot easier. Thank you very much for all the compliments. You guys are super awesome. A couple people asked really quick about how Amber's doing. Guys, just so that you know, my wife is about to go into labor like any day. Like, she could call me right now and say, my water broke, it's time to go. Like, it's right there. So I'm getting super excited, and I'm excited to share with you guys what my little son's gonna be like and how fatherhood is gonna change my perspective on things, because I'm a busy guy and I understand that fasting and keto is tough for anybody sometimes. And as a busy person and a person that's running a company and managing a team and really has 2 companies, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of stress, and now I've got a kid coming into the mix, and I'm excited to share it with you. I'm excited to share what I learned about being a father in conjunction with what I'm doing now and how it might change my perspective on health and fitness. So it's going to be awesome. So we're keeping the name quiet until he's born. Only my close friends know the name. So I'm excited to share it with you guys. I think you guys are going to really dig it. So guys, oh my God, you guys with all the positive words, you guys are super awesome. Dextrose is a pre-workout on keto. I wouldn't recommend that. Kevin, you asked if fasting is for everyone. It's definitely not. You're gonna have to test it out and see how it goes. South Dakota, sorry, I missed your question. Thank you guys for all the congratulations. You guys are super awesome. How much fat can we use when we are doing intermittent fasting? Well, here's the thing. You shouldn't be consuming any fat during your fast, but when you break your fast, you're gonna wanna slowly implement fats. Don't go crazy right out the gate, okay? Sebastian, you're super awesome. Thank you so much. How to bulk on keto, that's a video in and of itself. I have time for 2 more questions and then I gotta roll. My wife is cooking some dinner, and I know she just texted me like 3 times and I can't see it, but I know that it's coming through my phone that she wants me to come home soon. So, okay. Is Greek yogurt okay to break a fast? Roman, that's a great question. I'm gonna get to that in a second. Someone asked, would a fast help to break through a plateau in keto? Also, do almond flour products, keto bread made from home, negatively affect ketosis? Brandon, that's a really good question, man, like really good, because that's one that I think that's one that I have encountered myself. So when you actually, oh man, this thing's driving me crazy, guys. I'm sorry. It's killing me. Bear with me one second. Does a fast really help break through a plateau? Yes, it totally does. In fact, when I was working with clients one-on-one a lot, that's what I used to do all the time. I used to, if they would reach a plateau, fasting usually breaks them through that plateau really quick. So basically you're getting the benefits of ketosis, you're in ketosis, and then you switch over to fasting for a little bit, and all of a sudden it's like bada boom, things start to work. So I hope that really answers your question. So I would try, if you're already on keto, just start with fasting 1 day a week, and then I think it'll make a big difference for you and really help you out a lot there. There was a part 2 to that question that I want to make sure I answer, and the almond flour bread, it can negatively affect ketosis. You really need to do that in moderation, definitely. If you don't control it with the almond flour, it's a big problem. Not only because it's carbohydrates, but because it kills your digestive system. Almond flour is still very high in phytic acid. That's hard to break down. If you eat a lot of almonds, if you were to eat like a whole handful of almonds, it's really, really tough, okay? If you were to eat almond flour, there's more surface area in those almonds. It's really tough to break down. Someone asked, what do you do to get through a 24 to 72 hour fast? That's really important. It's really important to know. And that's simply because you're going to want to really make sure you're occupied, drink a lot of water, drink a lot of green tea, have lemon juice because it will satiate you, okay? That will help you tremendously. Also, here's a crazy one, go for walks. Because what that's gonna do is gonna stimulate things to get moving. It's gonna stimulate the free fatty acids, which are gonna satiate you. My trick to long fast, going for walks. I just saw another highlighted question that came in. Thomas, I'm 36 years old. I lost 60 pounds in 3 months with ketosis and fasting and lifting, but I'm stuck. You want 9% body fat. It might be time to go to a little bit of a slow carb approach. So this is what I did when I hit a plateau. I went off of keto for about 3 weeks and I ate nothing but protein, low fat, or moderate fat, I should say, and slow glycemic carbs, like low glycemic, like 25 GI and less. So all chickpeas, all lentils, things like that. That worked really, really well for me to do that for like 3-4 weeks and then bounce right back into keto and boom, it was like magic. You will find when you first go back on the carbs, you're gonna bloat up with a little bit of water at first, but that's okay, it's fine, it's just your body responding to the carbs. Are there any negative effects of fasting? There's a multitude of negative effects with every kind of diet you do, my friend. You're always gonna come into you might be a little bit hungry at first, you might have some other issues, you might have some moodiness, things like that. Guys, I'm gonna have to wrap this up. Can I ask you guys one more time to please just give one more shout out to where you're watching from? And guys, I have something really quick I wanna ask of you, and if you do this, great. If you don't, that's fine too. I'm never gonna ask anything big of you guys, but I just want you to know, for those of you that joined here, if you've been seeing what's been going on in Sonoma County, up in Sonoma, Napa, the fires that are just like raging through the town, it's no joke. Like, that is crazy. That's where I grew up, spent the first 20 years of my life. It's where I met my wife. My family homes are there. Our entire families are there. Amber's entire family's there. Amber's family lost homes. It's been bad. It's really bad. And I don't know exactly what to ask of you guys, but I do say, if you guys have a minute, go find one of the animal rescues that's there, one of the animal rescues that's in Sonoma that's dealing with a lot of these abandoned animals right now, and go give them a couple bucks. Like, if every single person here went to one of these charities that's dealing with Sonoma right now and gave them $1, it would make a big difference. I don't even know what charity to say right now. All I can say is it's bad right now, and I would really like to see those animals getting helped in any way. Why do I default to animals? Just because they're near and dear to me. So anyway, I don't know where to direct you for that, to be honest, but it's everywhere. So anyway, thank you guys for being here, and thank you for all the kind words with that. You guys are super, super awesome. Vallejo in the house said that all your girlfriend's family's in Santa Rosa. It's definitely, Sonoma Animal Services is great. Sonoma, even the Humane Society in Sonoma, it's awesome. Pets Lifeline in Sonoma is great. You don't have to, but I'm just putting it out there and prompting you. And for those of you that are asking, I'm north of LA now. I live north of LA. I'm not up in Northern California, but we'll be going up there in a couple weeks to take care of some family and everything that's going on. So again, thank you guys. One last round, if you can, hit that thumbs up button. And if you have any ideas for future live broadcasts, just let me know, because I'm happy to do these. This was a lot of fun. Thank you to all who asked great questions. Thank you all that took the willingness to actually use that paid feature to ask questions. That's really cool. I've never seen that before. So you guys are super great. I'll see you soon, and I look forward to the next broadcast and another video coming at you tomorrow. All right, see you soon, guys.